Welcome back to Why I Hate Being a Wife. I'm your host, and today we need to talk about something that's been bothering me more and more. My name, or actually the fact that nobody uses it anymore, because somewhere along the way I stopped being me. I became mom. Not just to my kids. That makes sense. They're my kids. I'm their mom. That's the relationship. But to everyone, my husband calls me mom. My in-laws calls me mom. Even I started introducing myself as so-and-so's mom instead of my own name. I have a name. I had it for decades before I had kids. It's my name. It's who I am. So why does everyone call me mom now? Why did I become a role instead of a person? And why does that bother me so much? Today, we're talking about the identity erasure, about becoming a function instead of a person, about being reduced to a role while everyone else gets to say themselves. Let's talk about when the shift happens, when you go from being a person with a name to being a mom. It starts when you have kids. Obviously, your kids call you mom. That's normal. That's the relationship. That makes sense. But then, your partner starts calling you mom. Go ask your mom. Mom will know where it is. Let me check with mom. He's not talking to his partner anymore. He's talking to mom, the person in charge of the kid stuff, the household manager, the role. And it's weird, right? You're not his mom. You're his wife, his partner, the person he chose to build a life with. But he stops seeing you that way. He starts seeing you as mom. And he starts treating you like mom. The manager, the organizer, the person responsible for everything kid-related and house-related. Then, extended family gets in on it. Mom's got her hands full. Better ask mom if that's okay. Mom knows best. And birthday cards start coming addressed to mom. Like that's your name. Like you don't have an actual name anymore. You start introducing yourself as someone's mom. Hi, I'm Tyler's mom. At school events. Not hi, I'm Sarah. Your identity is now tied to your kid. You're not a person anymore. You are a role. And slowly, gradually, you start to forget that you have a name. You become mom even to yourself. You stop thinking of yourself as Sarah, the person with interests, history, and identity. You start thinking of yourself as mom, the role you're playing. And that's when you realize you disappeared. You stopped being a person. You became a function. Let's talk about what it means when everyone calls you mom instead of your name. It's identity erasure. When people stop using your name, they stop seeing you as a full person. They see you as the role you perform. They see you as the function you serve. Mom is what you do, not who you are. But when everyone calls you mom, it becomes who you are. Your identity gets subsumed into the role. You're not Sarah anymore, with your own thoughts, feelings, needs, wants, identity. You're mom, the person who takes care of things. Your needs become secondary because mom doesn't have needs. Mom serves other people's needs. Your identity becomes about what you do for others, not about who you are as a person. And here's what's fucked up. Nobody else loses their name. Nobody else becomes just a role. Your husband is still Kevin. His identity stays intact. Nobody starts calling him Dad in place of his actual name. Even when he's with the kids, even when he's parenting, he's still himself. He's still Kevin. He doesn't disappear into the role. But you do. You stop being a person with a name and become mom. And everyone treats you like that. Like it's normal. Let me give you some examples of how this shows up and why it bothers me so much. Your partner calling you mom, this is the one that gets me the most. He's talking to the kids, go ask your mom. He's talking to you, Mom, have you seen my keys? Wait, I'm not your mom. I'm your wife. I'm your partner. I'm Sarah. Why are you calling me by my role instead of my name? Why have I become a function to you instead of a person? And it changes how he sees me. When he calls me mom, he's not seeing me as his partner. He's seeing me as the person in charge of stuff, the manager, the mom. He's othering me. I'm not part of us anymore. I'm mom, the separate entity who handles things. Go ask your mom. Even when he could answer the question, even when he knows the answer, go ask your mom. Because I'm mom, the information hub, the person who knows everything, the default parent. Not because I actually know and he doesn't, but because mom is the role that knows things. Mom is the role that handles stuff. So he defers to mom instead of being an equal partner who also knows things and can answer questions. The way other people refer to you, let me check with mom. Mom will take care of it. Mom's got it handled. Even when talking about you to other people, your mom, not Sarah, not my wife, mom. Like, that's your identity now. Like, that's all you are. How you introduce yourself? Hi, I'm Austin's mom, not hi, I'm Sarah. You've internalized it. You've started to see yourself as mom first and Sarah second. Or maybe not second. Maybe not at all. Birthday cards and gifts to mom, not to Sarah. Happy Mother's Day, mom. Not using your actual name. Like, mom is your name now. Like you don't have an individual identity anymore. The loss of identity in conversation, when people talk to you, they talk to mom. They ask about the kids, about household stuff, about schedule and logistics. They don't ask about you, what you're interested in, what you're thinking about, what you want, because mom doesn't have individual interests. Mom is about the kids and the household. So let's talk about why partners do this. Why does your husband start calling you mom instead of your name? I don't think most of them realize they're doing it. I don't think it's intentional, but here's what it reflects. It reinforces your role as primary parent. When he calls you mom, he's identifying you as the person in charge of kid stuff. He's the dad, you're the mom, you're the default parent. He's the backup. It others you. It positions you as separate. You're not his partner in parenting. You're the mom, the person he defers to. It absolves him of equal responsibility. Go ask your mom means, that's not my department, that's hers. When he sends the kids to mom for questions, decisions, needs, he's saying, she's the one who handles that, not me. It doesn't have to be equally informed or equally responsible if you are mom, the person who knows everything and handles everything. It reflects how he sees you. When he calls you mom, that's how he's thinking of you. Not as his wife, not as his partner, but as the household mom, the person who takes care of things. You've become a role to him, not a person, not the woman he fell in love with, the mom, the function. And that's not sexy. That's not partnership. That's not love. That's objectification. You've become an object that performs a function instead of a person he's in relationship with. It's easier than treating you as an equal parent. If your mom, the expert on all things kids related, then he doesn't have to know what you know. He doesn't have to do what you do. He can just defer to you. It's laziness disguised as respect. Oh, mom knows best. Yeah, because mom has to know because dad's not paying attention. Let's talk about what you lose when you become mom instead of your name. You lose your sense of self when everyone calls you by your role instead of your name. You start to forget who you are outside that role. Who is Sarah? What does she like? What is she interested in? What does she want? You don't know anymore because you've become mom. And mom doesn't have individual wants and interests. Mom is about everyone else. You lose your hobbies and interests, not just because you don't have time for them, but because you've forgotten they exist. You used to paint, you used to read, you used to be interested in things, but mom doesn't do things. Mom is too busy with the kid stuff and the household stuff. So your hobbies disappear, your interests fade, the things that made you you are gone. You lose your personhood. You're not a full human anymore. You are a role, a function, a person who serves other people's needs. Your needs don't matter because mom doesn't have needs. Mom is selfless. Mom exists for others. You lose your sexuality. Hard to feel like a sexual being when everyone sees you as mom. Mom isn't sexy. Mom is practical. Mom takes care of people. Mom is nurturing. Not sexual, not desirable, not a person with her own sexuality and desire. And when your own partner calls you mom, when he's internalized seeing you as mom instead of as his wife, how is he supposed to desire you? How are you supposed to desire him? You lose your dreams and ambitions. Mom doesn't have big dreams. Mom doesn't have career ambitions. Mom's purpose is the kids and the family. So, whatever you wanted before, whatever you were working toward, whatever you dreamed of, that gets lost because that's not what mom does. You lose yourself fully, completely. You stop being Sarah, the complex, multifaceted person you were. You become mom, and that's all you are. Let's talk about what message it sends to kids when everyone calls you mom instead of your name. It teaches them that mothers aren't full people. If everyone calls you mom instead of your name, kids learn that's who you are, not a person with a name and identity, just mom. They don't see you as a full human with your own life, interest, needs. They see you as the person who takes care of them. It teaches them gender roles. Mom is in charge of home stuff. Dad is still himself with his own name and identity. They are learning that women become roles when they become mothers. Men stay themselves. That's the model they are learning. That's what they'll replicate in their own lives. It reinforces the default parent dynamic. When everyone defers to mom, kids learn that mom is the one who knows everything. Dad doesn't have to know because mom does. They are learning that parenting isn't equal, that mothers are default and fathers are optional. It teaches them that women's identities are disposable. You had a name, you had an identity, then you became mom, and all of that disappeared. They're learning that women's personhood is negotiable, that becoming a mother means losing yourself. And your daughters will learn that's what's expected of them. Your sons will learn that's what to expect from their partners. Unless we break the cycle, unless we insist on being people with names, not just roles. So what happens when you push back? When you ask people to use your name instead of calling you mom, you get resistance. It's just a name. Why does it matter? But you are mom. You're being too sensitive. It's a term of endearment. They don't get it. They don't understand why it matters. They think you're being difficult over nothing. But it's not nothing. Your name is your identity. It's who you are. It matters. And the resistance to using your name tells you everything. It tells you that they are comfortable with you being mom, the role. They're not comfortable with you being Sarah, the person. Because if you are a person, you have needs. You have wants. You have an identity outside of serving them. But if you are mom, the role, you exist to serve them. Your personhood is secondary. They want you to be mom because it's easier for them. Because it absolves them of seeing you as fully human with your own needs. And when you insist on being seen as a person with a name, you are disrupting that. You are making them uncomfortable. You are refusing to stay in the role. And they don't like that. So, what do you actually want? What would it mean for people to see you as a person instead of a role? You want to be called by your name, by your partner, by your family, by people who know you. Not mom, your actual name, Sarah, because that's who you are. You're not just a role, you are a person. You want your partner to see you as his wife, not as the mom. You want him to see you as the person he fell in love with, the woman he chose, his partner, not the household manager, not the person who handles kid stuff, his wife, his equal. You want to maintain your identity outside of motherhood. You want to remember who you are, what you like, what you want, what you dream about. You want to be Sarah, who happens to be a mother, not Mom, who used to be Sarah. You want your kids to see you as a full person, not just as the person who takes care of them, as someone with your own life, your own interests, your own identity. You want them to know your name, to know who you are outside of being their mom. You want to be valued for who you are, not just what you do. You want people to value you as a person, not just value the functions you perform. You want to matter as Sarah, not just as mom. So, how do you reclaim your name? How do you stop being mom and start being Sarah again? Start with yourself. Start thinking of yourself as Sarah again, not just mom. When you introduce yourself, use your name. Hi, I'm Sarah. Not hi, I'm so-and-so's mom. Remind yourself that you are a person with your own identity. Correct people when they call you mom. Actually, my name is Sarah. It's going to feel awkward. It's going to feel difficult. But it matters. Your name matters. Your identity matters. You matter. Talk to your partner. Tell him you don't want to be called mom anymore. Tell him you want him to use your name. Explain that you need him to see you as his wife, his partner, Sarah, not as the mom. Model it for your kids. Use your name when talking about yourself. I'm Sarah, and I'm also your mom. Teach them that you are a full person with your own identity, not just a role. Reconnect with the things that make you you. Your hobbies, your interests, your passions. Remember what you liked before you became mom, and do those things again. Set boundaries around your identity. You're not just mom, you're also Sarah. And Sarah has needs, wants, boundaries, limits. You're allowed to be a person, not just a role. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to happen overnight. The identity erasure happened gradually, and reclaiming your identity will be gradual too. But it's worth it, because you deserve to be a person with a name. You deserve to be seen as more than a role. You deserve to be Sarah. I have a name. I'm Sarah. I had that name for decades before I became a mother. It's my name. It's who I am. And I'm tired of being called mom by everyone, including my own husband. I'm tired of being reduced to a role. I'm tired of being erased. I'm tired of my identity being erased. I'm not just a mom. I'm a whole person. I have interests, thoughts, feelings, needs, wants, dreams. I have an identity outside of motherhood, and I want people to see that. I want my partner to see that. I want my kids to see that. I want to see that myself. I want my name back. So, here's my announcement. My name is Sarah, not mom to anyone except my kids, not her or the wife or the mom. Sarah. And if you can't use my name, if you can't see me as a person instead of a role, then you need to examine why. Why is it easier for you to see me as mom than to see me as Sarah? Because I'm both. I'm a mother, and I'm Sarah. Those two things coexist, and I'm not willing to lose myself anymore. Alright, that's it for today. Next time, we're talking about sacrifice culture, why it's always your career, your body, your dreams that become negotiable while his stay sacred. Until then, remember, you have a name, you are a person, and you are allowed to insist on being seen that way. This is Why I Hate Being a Wife. I'm Sarah, and I'll see you next time.